Good day everyone. Welcome to Learn with MN. In this video, we'll explore the guidelines in Inkscape. Guidelines, or guides, are custom helper lines that you can place on the canvas to help align, position, and snap objects accurately. They're only visible while you're designing, they won't appear in your exported files. However, they are saved in your SVG document for later use. To create a guide, first make sure the rulers are visible. If they're not, go to the View menu, then Show and Hide, and check Rulers. You can also use the shortcut Ctrl-R. Once the rulers are visible, just click and drag from a ruler onto the canvas, and it will create a guide on the canvas, like this. If you drag from the top ruler, it will create a horizontal guide, and if you drag from the left ruler, it will create a vertical guide. You can also create a diagonal guide. If I drag from the top left corner, it will create a diagonal guide like this. And if I drag from the top right corner, it will also create a diagonal guide, but in the opposite direction. By default, the angle of the diagonal guides is 45 degrees. When snapping to guides is enabled, nodes, paths, and object edges will snap onto the guidelines, like this. This makes alignment neat and precise, especially for complex layouts. To learn more about snapping and its different options in the Snap control bar, refer to its tutorial, its link is in the description. Every time you create a guide, you'll notice a small circular point on it. This is called the anchor of the guide. The anchor marks the exact point where you released the mouse when you created or moved the guide. When snapping is turned on, this anchor also acts as a snap point. That means, as you move objects near it, they'll not only snap to the guide itself but also precisely to its anchor point, like this. After creating guides, you can adjust them anytime as needed. When you hover over a guide, it changes color to red, indicating that it's now active and movable. By clicking and dragging with the left mouse button, you can move both the guide and its anchor anywhere on the canvas. If you only want to move the anchor without shifting the guide itself, hold down the Control key while dragging. This will only move the anchor along the guide, like this. To rotate a guide, hold the Shift key as you drag. And to rotate it by a snap angle, hold Control and Shift keys together. By default, the snap angle is 15 degrees. To delete a guide, simply hover over it, and press the Delete key, or drag it back toward the ruler. You can create as many guides as you need, depending on your design requirements. Inkscape also offers a built-in option to create guides around the page borders quickly. For this, go to the Edit menu, and select Create Guides around the page. You can manually create them, but it is a quick way if you need them. You can also lock all guides at once so that they will not move, even if you accidentally click them, and it will let you design without any trouble. To do this, go to the Edit menu, and enable Lock All Guides. Once locked, the guides become unselectable, and their anchors change from circles to small crosses, indicating they're locked in place. To unlock them again, simply uncheck the same option. You can also toggle guide locking on and off using this lock button here. Guides can also be hidden by simply clicking anywhere on the rulers. Clicking again will show them again, like this. The Guidelines dialog gives you additional options for each guide, allowing you to place and adjust them with precision. To open it, simply double-click on a guide, and the dialog will appear for that specific guide. The Guideline ID shows the unique ID of the guide assigned by Inkscape, which you can change later in the XML editor if needed. The current field indicates whether the guide is vertical or horizontal, along with its corresponding X or Y coordinate. This guide is vertical, and is created at 108 mm X coordinate. In the Label field, you can assign a name to your guide for easier identification. For example, if I type border as the label, and click OK, the name will appear next to the guide's anchor on the canvas. The color swatch lets you change the color of the guide. By default, it's blue, but you can select any color from here. If the guide is vertical, the X field represents the horizontal position of the guide, and Y represents the anchor's position along the vertical axis. Similarly, if the guide is horizontal, the Y field shows its vertical position, and X shows the anchor's position along the horizontal axis. You can modify these values to place the guide and its anchor at precise coordinates. Right now, these values are in millimeters. You can change the unit of coordinates value from this drop-down menu. The angle field lets you set a custom angle for the guide by typing its value, and the adjacent drop-down menu allows you to change the angle unit. The relative change checkbox modifies how these values behave. When it's unchecked, the fields show the guide's absolute values. But when you check relative change, all editable fields reset to 0. Any number you type now will be added to the existing values rather than replacing them. For example, this vertical guide is currently placed at 10 mm on the x-axis with an angle of 90 degrees. If I enable relative change, and enter 20 mm for x, and 30 degrees for the angle, and click OK, it will update the guide's final position to 30 mm, and its angle to 120 degrees, like this. If you uncheck the box again, the fields will display the updated absolute values of the guide again. Earlier, we locked all the guides in the document at once. In the Guidelines dialog, the Locked checkbox allows you to lock the currently selected guide individually. Simply check the Locked checkbox, click OK, and that guide will be locked. Once locked, however, you won't be able to hover over it or open its dialog again directly, which is one drawback. To unlock it, you have two options. The first is to use the Lock All Guides option. This will unlock all the guides at once. The second method is more precise. You can unlock a specific guide using the XML editor. To do this, open the XML editor and find your guide by its label or ID. Once selected, you'll see its properties listed on the right. Look for the property named Inkscape Locked, which will have the value true. Change this value from true to false, press enter, and your guide will be unlocked. If you have multiple guides, it's helpful to either remember the guide's ID, or assign it a label, so you can easily identify it in the XML editor. You can also delete the selected guide directly from the dialog by clicking the Delete button. The duplicate button will create an exact copy of the current guide at the same position. Once you've made your changes, click OK to apply them, or click Cancel to discard them. Some of the options we discussed earlier are also available in the Document Properties panel. To access them, go to the File menu and select Document Properties, or click this icon, or use the shortcut key Ctrl-Shift-D. Here, you will find those options in the Guides tab. This option allows you to show or hide all guides at once. The next one lets you lock or unlock all guides in the document. By default, the color of newly created guides is blue, but you can change it to any other color from here. Similarly, the default hover or highlight color of a guide is red, and you can also customize it here. This will create the guides around the current page edges, and this will delete all guides in the document. In Inkscape, you can also convert any object into guides. For example, let's say we have these objects that we want to turn into guides. To do this, simply select the object, go to the Object menu, and choose Objects to Guides. You can also use the shortcut Shift-G. By default, Inkscape converts the selected object into guides, and deletes the original object. Different shapes are converted in different ways. For example, when you convert a rectangle, guides are created along its edges, even if the rectangle is rotated. For paths, guides are created along each straight line segment, while curved parts are ignored. For 3D boxes, all 12 edges are converted into guides. For all other objects, the 4 sides of the object's bounding box are converted into 2 vertical and 2 horizontal guides. For now, that was all for this video. If you have any queries, feel free to write in the comments section or contact us on our website. Its link is in the description. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching.